Good morning, ladies. I am Danny Datige, and this is Beauty Manifested. And the thing that I wanted to talk about today is the American dream and how I am using gardening to get me closer to that. So I am not sure if we all, you know what, let me Google it really quick. But yeah, so I'm not sure if we all have the same opinion of what the American dream is. So I'm gonna Google the definition to see if there is like a common assumption. I know for me it's like white picket fence, suburban living, business owner, lots of money. Okay, American dream. The ideal by which equality of opportunity is available to any American, allowing the highest aspiration and goals to be achieved. Yeah. Is there a symbol? Yeah, the ideal that every citizen of the United States should have an equal opportunity to achieve success and prosperity through hard work, determination, and initiative. And I absolutely believe in that. I'm so grateful to be an American woman. I would not want to have been born anywhere else. I love who I am. I am proud of who I am. I'm proud of my family, my ancestors, my roots. I absolutely am so grateful to be an American woman. And I live here in Texas, and there are so many different immigrant populations. And I'm actually from Michigan, and there were so many immigrant populations there. I mean, I went to school with people from like probably 10 different Asian countries: Filipinos, Thai, Vietnamese, Korean, Asians who had been adopted by white families, Indians, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, and more. Nepalese, like literally everywhere you could think of. White people from everywhere, European white people who from Germany, from France, from Czechoslovakia, from Ukraine, like literally anyone who you could think of. I've gone to school with them. I've probably been their friend because I love everybody. And their families came here for more opportunity. That's what they will usually say, like across the board, more opportunity. And especially my Nigerian friends here, they say, I came to America because America is where you come to make money. And most of them actually plan to retire back in their home country because the way of life is a lot more peaceful and slow, and you can live a good life for less. Whereas in America, if you want anything, you're gonna have to work for it. And I think that's wonderful, but I think it's wonderful. I'm just so grateful to be here. And so how does gardening play into my ideal of the American dream? For me, as a sweet American woman, I have always imagined myself with a husband who wears a tie and he goes to work every morning. I know the world is a little bit different, so maybe he, as a business owner, he just goes to his office every morning, or maybe he's always catching flights for business deals. I don't know, but he wears a tie and he goes to work every morning. And I have maybe 3 kids, and we have a beautiful garden, and we grow our own food. And part of that opportunity is the ability, like, we can all grow gardens, we can all eat well. What really is so sad to me is often the poorer you are, or I don't like to call people poor because we're all rich and abundant, but the less money that you have, typically the worse food that you eat, because the cheapest food has the highest calories, the cheapest food has the most added sugars, the most processed starches, the most hydrogenated oils, and so on and so on. And poor people without money, they struggle to eat healthy. Even so, I knew a man who did not have very much money at all, and he was like vegan, and he was trying to be healthy, and basically he would just eat like hash browns, which are fried in probably hydrogenated oils. He would just eat like hash browns and toast most of the time. And granted, he could have done a lot better. He could have got bananas. Bananas are not expensive. He could have done a lot better, okay? But the point is, studies will show the less income you receive, the less quality foods you eat. Typically. Typically. That's not for everybody. Like, everybody wasn't raised the same. I bet, especially for immigrant families, although I do know a lot of immigrant people who also have fallen into the American trap of eating horrible, or they drink a lot of sodas and just like all kinds of things. But for me, health is wealth. There is no, so say you move to America, you make a lot of money, you buy the house. It really doesn't mean anything. One, if you can't work anymore, you have to get on disability because you just have so many health problems, then what was it worth? And you probably won't even be able to maintain the money unless you invested heavily for at least a decade. Then it was a big waste. Like, if you don't have health, you don't have anything. You don't. And I know people in their 20s who are already on high blood pressure medication. And that is just so sad and depressing. And so what the great equalizer for me is, it's not time. We don't all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's health. It's health. God loves you no matter where you are in society at this given point in your life. High class, middle class, low class, whatever. God loves you and the sun will always shine on you. You can grow a garden. You can grow some things. Like, even if you just had a herb garden and you start cooking at home more and you start adding things to your meals and just work really intentional about infusing your meals with love, growing things with love, just literally just a couple, maybe like a hot pepper plant and then some herbs, that would make such a huge difference. And it would allow you to ground. A lot of us are highly disconnected. We're living in a 5G era. There's all these cell phone towers like messing with our electromagnetic field, and then we're not taking the time to really work with the earth, put our feet and hands in the dirt and connect back to the planet, which like recharges us. It's like a giant battery. And so we just become more and more disconnected from the planet and more disconnected from ourselves. So if you were to grow a garden, just like one, even literally just one plant that you could cook with and that you could put your hands in and touch and feel and have around you, and you're working with the dirt constantly every day, you would see such extreme health benefits. And then, so I am a yogi as well, and I'm a gardener. I'm a yogi gardener. And you'll learn that once you start finding an interest in these things, it really does become a way of life. Like, how come people always think yogis are like tree huggers and stuff? It's because it's a way of life. When you start picking up certain habits, such as the habit of yoga, you start being around people who also have that habit, and you start to value your health. You start to get used to feeling good in your body, because you'll learn that a lot of people don't even know what it is to feel good in their body or to even feel their body because they're so numb, which is like actually kind of scary. They don't even know what it would feel like to feel good because they haven't felt that way in so long. And so when you start practicing yoga and you start breathing deeper and you start leaving your cell phone in the locker while you take your 1-hour yoga class, and you just start spending time with yourself and nourishing yourself, that is going to spill into the rest of your life. They say the way that you do one thing is the way that you do all things. And so the mental health benefits and the physical health benefits of growing a garden, I feel, is a huge part of the American dream. It's the opportunity. It's the great equalizer. We can all grow a garden. We can all eat well if we have the knowledge to do so and the desire to do so. We can all be healthy. I'm telling you, like, it doesn't have to be what it is. I think a lot of people just don't know any better. Like, you know, sometimes I can come off as judgmental to my friends because I do not eat McDonald's, I do not eat Taco Bell, I do not eat any of those things. because I know I have better food at home, mostly. It's like, okay, why would I do that when the food I have at home is a million times better, it tastes better, I cook better, it's fresher, it's healthier. Like, there just would be no reason for me to do that. And people think that gardening is going to be so hard and it's going to take so much time and it's going to do this and it's going to go that do that. But what I find is really interesting is like, if you wanted to, you would. If it was a priority for you, then it would be like, okay, for example, some people, I have one friend, he says he's pre-diabetic now, and he's tried everything to lose weight, blah, 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 but he doesn't go to the gym. And I asked him, well, do you go to the gym? And he said, and mind you, you don't have to go to the gym to work out. Like, if you wanted to, you would. If it was important to you, you could take, he said it's because he doesn't go to the gym because he doesn't have time, because he wants to spend time with his wife and his daughter. They could go on walks every evening with the daughter in the stroller. I see people in my neighborhood do it. If it was important to you, then you would find a way. And as you begin to go to the gym, you will find that that is like the best part of your day. It's not like something that you have to reluctantly make time for. It's like, okay, this is scheduled, this is a non-negotiable, I have to do my workout or else I'm like, I cannot do the rest of my life, because one, it's important to me, it's a priority to me, and I need it. Like, I literally need it. I don't feel the same when I haven't been working out. My body starts to feel weird, my mind starts to feel weird. I am my best self when I'm working out. Same thing with diet. Like, people are like, oh, I just don't have the money, I just don't have the time, I just don't blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, if it were important to you and if it were a priority to you, you would do it. And it would be something that you enjoy doing because you know how good it is for you. You know how good it feels. And you just know, like, it's like when I have a really productive day at work, I feel so good. And it's not because I love working. I definitely don't. But it's because I know that I'm doing something that is serving me. I know that I'm doing something that is benefiting me. It makes me feel like I love myself, I care about myself, and I'm willing to do the things to ensure that I get to live a good life. And so that is important to me, and so I do that. So really, like, there's just no complaints that are valid. I feel like instead of saying, oh, I don't have time, you could just say it's really not very important to me, and then just say that. But I think that if more people were honest with themselves and they had to say out loud, my health is not important to me, that might be the wake-up call that they need. That's how they could wake themselves up. If instead of lying to themselves and saying that they don't have time, they were honest and said, it's not a priority to me right now. It's not something that I'm willing to put energy into. It's not something that I'm willing to figure out. That might not feel so good to say. And it might. And okay, you can live your life and speak that over yourself. You don't care about your health. But I think that if you have to continuously say that out loud, it doesn't feel good. Like, for example, like, say you've been making bad relationship decisions and you're like, oh my God, why do I keep making these bad relationship decisions? The easy way out would be for me to be like, oh my God, like, these guys, men are just trash, all men are liars, all men are this. But what if instead I said, I just like guys who treat me like shit. Like, I'm most attracted to guys who treat me like shit. How many times am I going to be able to say that out loud before I'm like, that does not feel good? Like, that, I don't like saying that. I don't want people to think of me that way. I don't want to think of myself that way. I do not want to be the girl who chooses bad men and just totally betrays herself. Like, that does not feel good to me. And so I feel really grateful because although I may not have been born into a billion-dollar family, and although I may be young, I'm only 25, and there's a lot I haven't done and a lot of things that I'm still figuring out. Sometimes I feel unsure of myself. I don't know. I feel like nervous that maybe I'm one decision away from homeless. Sometimes it feels like that. It's like, okay, like, you have to always make the right move, and you have to make sure you do the right thing and read all the books and wake up at 5 a.m. and do all the things, because if you fuck up, you might end up homeless. Yeah, like that is how I feel. So, or like you might die. Like if you fuck up, you might end up dead. So, you know, do it correctly. But my health is something that I really prioritize. Um, Mental, physical, spiritual, financial. Like my health is very important to me. And that makes me feel like, one, I have a competitive advantage over the people who are not prioritizing their health. That makes me feel like I'm doing something right. And that makes me feel like I'm ahead of the game. It makes me feel like rich, honestly, that I'm even able to, because like, imagine in some countries where they don't have good irrigation systems, and so it's hard for them to even water their gardens, and they have to pray for rain. That's how it used to be back in the day. When people were farming, they would have to pray for rain because there was no way they were going to be able to just like water the whole garden. And so, like, that's kind of scary. So, I'm so grateful to be living in this modern era where I have so many resources. I have access to fresh water. I can water my garden, it comes right off the house. Like, I am so blessed and so grateful. I have these seeds. I have a job so I can buy fun stuff for my garden. I am just like so blessed and so grateful. And I feel like I am living the American dream and I am creating the American dream for myself. I live in a beautiful suburb. I have a garden. I grow my own food. I eat well. I'm a wonderful cook. Um, I feel cultured because through ordering seeds from all over the world, I get to learn a little bit about all these different cultures and their biodiversity, so to speak. And it's just a good life. I would recommend that anyone plants a garden. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a garden. You can also just take control of your health. But to me, there's really something to be said about using what God has given you. Light, water, soil, like, and we all have access to those things. Like, we can all grow our own food and we can all live a good life. You do not have to be rich. You don't. God has given you so much for free. For free. And now you can do rich people gardening. Like, I think that's fun. I love luxurious gardening. I love all of it. But all of gardening is luxurious because it's literally magic. It's literally alchemy. You take a tiny little seed and you grow it into a big plant, and then it creates fruit that you eat. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, there's just so much. And if you're not learning gardening, what are you learning? Like, I don't know. I feel like that is the most radical, wonderfully American thing you can do. They talk about victory gardens after the war, like the HOA can't stop you from gardening because America has the right to victory gardens. After the war, they were encouraging people to grow gardens. Like, grow a garden. You shouldn't be always depending on someone else to grow your food. Are you kidding? Sometimes I see little articles and stuff about people having like food scarcity and like, oh, food insecurity, and like they're scared because something's going on with the farmers and something's going on with the grocery store, and that the restaurants are not providing the highest quality things. And it's like, okay, you can complain and complain and complain, but if you're not growing a garden, I'm not trying to hear none. I'm not trying to hear none of that. Like, you could do something about it and you're just not. Like, you could grow a garden and you're just not. And if it was important to you, then you would. This has kind of turned into a little rant, but I feel very passionate about this. It's like, why are you not growing a garden? It makes no sense. Yeah, but I love you guys. I guess that's all I have to say for today. Grow a garden and stay beautiful. I love you.